are you able to hear?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Priyaji.
Okay. I would like to know what is Chidabhasa, Vijayji.
So first is abhasa. What do you understand by the word abhasa? Is it?
Nyunata, something is missing.
Ah. So something, there's a variation, right? In
Yes.
something that is perfect, there's a variation. So
Mhm.
Chidabhasa is the reflection of the self is considered as the self, or I become the reflection.
Okay.
The confusion with the reflection. So therefore, the usual analogy given is, imagine there are parts of water, different kinds of parts, different shapes,
Mm.
and there is sun reflecting.
Okay.
So when you see one, let's say, muddy water, the sun reflection is seen as very muddy. When you see a very clean pot of water, the sun's reflection is seen very clean.
Mm.
In a large pond, it is seen bigger and better. So like that, there are different reflections.
Okay.
But is any of the reflection the true sun?
Mm. No.
No,
No,
it
no.
is only a
It's all
reflection,
the yes.
right? And then also what we do, oh, this is muddy water, this is very muddy sun.
Mm.
Oh, this is clean water, oh, this is very clean sun.
Mm.
So the sun is neither has become muddy nor has become clean.
Mm.
The sun is how it is. But
Sun is
yeah, go ahead.
no. You continue. Sorry.
But what we do, by looking at the reflection, we do the guna aropa of the pot to the sun.
Okay.
So this Chidabhasa is the reflection, and the whole of the ignorances that I am the Chidabhasa, that I am this reflection, is where the confusion occurs. So through Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasa,
Mm.
this Chidabhasa is the reflection surface. There is a form, and that form is, the mind and body is the surface, the reflection surface, and through that form, the self is reflecting.
Okay.
And what we are doing is, we are doing the guna aropa of the mind and the body to the self.
Mm.
Oh, very good person. Oh, very bad person. Oh, gnani. Oh, agnyani. Oh, enlightened master. Oh, killer.
Mm.
So the limitations of the instrument are given to the you also. So you carry the limitations of the instrument to you, which
Okay.
is the wrong understanding.
Okay.
You are the light. You are the sun. In
Mm.
this example, you are that sun.
Mm.
So the sun has no, attributes of the pot.
Yes.
Sun is the illumining factor.
Yes.
So like that is this Chidabhasa. So Chidabhasa is, because of this reflection surface, the confusion that is arising, that I am the reflection. Oh, I am this mind. Oh, that is a whole point of the Panchakosha Prakriya. As you may be aware, if you've heard the talk number 9,
Yes.
during the Panchakosha Prakriya, so for example, this is the Annamaya Kosha.
Annamaya Kosha.
Oh, I am very young. Oh, I am black in color. Oh, I am white in color.
Mm.
Oh, I am, I have a, bad nose, ugly looking face.
Mm.
So what is happening there? The attributes of the Annamaya Kosha are wrongly put onto self.
Yes. Okay.
So likewise, kosha by kosha, so many things are happening in the koshas that are wrongly taken to the sun.
Hmm.
The limitations of the part are attributed to the sun.
Okay. So is the same concept can we apply to the image what you have sent, like mirror and the reflection?
So that is again an example of, see, there is a, let's look at that example. So there's a person standing outside and looking at the mirror.
Hmm.
So first is the reflection in the mirror is an Maya, is not really there, but it appears to be completely there,
Hmm.
isn't it? So this is a Chidabhasa. The reflection is a Chidabhasa.
Hmm.
If this person ever thinks that, oh, this is me, that's the ignorance, no?
Correct.
Likewise, this whole person standing outside itself is a Chidabhasa. Even to assume that, oh, this person in the mirror is not who I am. Okay, at least in the person standing outside, if the person standing outside is thinking that the person in the mirror is not who I am, that is one level of removal of the ignorance. But the real ignorance is this person standing outside thinking, I am this person.
Okay.
That is the root ignorance, that I am this person, isn't it? Because you are not this person, you are not this body that is changing, or you are not even the one who is asking all the questions. That's why the next level of question is there in that cartoon. Who am I? This person is asking. And the reflection is asking, who is asking the question?
True.
This is the path given by Ramana Maharshi. Self-inquiry. Ramana Maharshi's path is, whenever you have any question, go back to the root of the question. Who is asking the question? Who is asking the question that I want to realize myself? Who is asking the question, I am very sad? Who's saying that? Go back to the root. Go back. Who is asking? Because as you keep asking, who is asking the question? The ego, the Chidabhasa, that is looking at the reflected surface, the ego comes and says, that is who I am. So this artificial entity who is really not there, who is just created like the reflection in the mirror, who is just created for the time being so that you make sense of it. It's only for the time being. As long as you stand in front of the mirror, you are there in the mirror. When you go away, you are not there. Or when there is a light in the room, you can see the reflection. When there is no light, you cannot see. So like that, it is only a transient phenomenon. It's coming and going. It is not a permanent phenomenon. So to bring back to that clarity, Ramana Maharshi gave these simple questions. Whenever you are worried, for example, ask who is worried? Who in you is worried? Or whenever you're asking the question, I have to become enlightened. Ask the question, who is asking this question? Who wants to become enlightened? Who is that who is saying that I have to realize myself now? So it is just taking you back to the root knot, Granthi. Ignorance is represented as Granthi. It becomes a knot. I have to remove the knots in the life, no? So various kinds of knots. There is ill health is because of a knot. The ignorance, the root ignorance is the root knot. And to remove that root knot, the master is giving this jnana. Ask this question. Who am I? And then who is asking the question? So it's the dialogue between that will help you to resolve this root knot.
Okay.
Is this making sense? Is this bringing clarity?
Yes, Vijayji. So actually now the person who is standing in front of the mirror is only not clear, right? Like he has got a lot of confusion in his mind. So who am I? Again, the reflection what he has getting, that is also has got some hindrances. So again, it will come with all different opinions. So he is in the analysis mode. So he'll be thinking, who am I? So that is the thing. So again, it makes us to go back to the root and again rework. Who am I? That is.
So keep that. Now, for example, when you ask, who am I? So generally, what is the way in which we describe who are you? If that question is asked, who are you? The first thing is some kind of a body consciousness. I am a girl. I am a woman. Then I'm very good looking. Oh, I'm very bad looking. So various such answers come which are related to the physical. Then if you continue that question, who am I or who are you? If you keep asking the next level question, then what comes? Various kinds of roles you play come out. I am a mother. I am a daughter. I am a wife. I am intelligent. I am good in mathematics. I am bad in social. So various things related to mind come out. So at a first level, various things related to the body come out. Then various things related to the mind come out.
Correct.
But when you examine those answers, for example, I am very young. Okay, that is related to this body. But the body is continuously changing. How can this body remain young forever? Oh, I am very weak in mathematics. Okay, maybe at a point in time, math was not understood. But now, maybe because you have gone to a right teacher and you know math very easily, now you may not have to say the same statement again. So which means that concept also has now got modified.
Yes.
So like that, any of these answers that you give to a who am I question is only coming out from the surface of the mind. It's only nothing but an impression. It's only nothing but a characterization of this body and mind.
Okay.
So at a first level, all these answers and all these roles and various attributes of the body are given as answer. But if you continue to dig deeper with the viveka, that okay, so who am I? Okay, so this answer that I got, I am a mother. It cannot be a permanent answer. Just about 20-25 years back, I was not a mother. Motherhood happened because I had a baby. So who was I then before the motherhood happened? Because I am still there. Because I was also there. The very cognition, the very awareness that I was there has been there always, right? So then I am a mother is not a truthful answer. It's not a satya. Meaning what? Something that is unchanging. So it is not a unchanging answer.
Correct.
So as I get any kind of these answers, apply the viveka. Is it a satya or a asatya? Or is it a satya or a mithya? Any answer that is mithya, keep it. It may be necessary for the life, in terms of the role that you are playing. Not saying that it needs to be removed. It just needs to be kept aside as asatya. Then continue. So then who am I? So the only true answer is it has to end in deep silence and in deep peace. Because you are attributeless. You are guna atita. See, the Sat Chit Ananda are only pointers. So you are infinite. So you are guna theta.
Okay.
So when you find the true answer, there is nothing but deep silence and all pervading peace. And it is not a statement. Statement is from the mind. Mind can only give finite answers because mind operates in the domain of space and time. It has to put a boundary. I am a mother, there is a boundary. Then I am not a father. I am a wife, then there is a boundary. Then I am not a husband. I am good, there is a boundary. Then I am not bad.
Okay.
So which means that I split whole into pieces. What is whole has become fragments. That is the nature of the intellect. Intellect's nature is to slice and dice, to cut and to see. Very, very good. Nothing wrong. Very, very important. That is what gives you the ability to even use the Atma Anatma Viveka. What is Atma? What is Anatma? So the who am I question is not a mere intellectual question. It's a tool to dig deeper and deeper and deeper till there is a natural sahaja silence.
Okay.
So that's why the next thing that Ramana Maharshi also gives, one of the simplest direct path, next thing that he says is Summa iru. Just be. Because the ultimate answer of all this inquiry is to go into your true nature, which is silence. See, it is in silence all the sounds are. It is in space all the forms are. And not as an intellectual exercise. Oh, Ramana Maharshi has asked me to be silent. I'm silent. Is it making sense, Priyaji? Is this bringing clarity?
Yes, Vijayji. As and when we start thinking of all these things, we will try to understand. Like we are all colored with all this. I mean, we are attributed. So finally, it makes us silent. This is not me. This is not me. So at last, it is the silence and peace what we expect, and it remains. That I would able to experience it.
Yeah, excellent.
Everything is we are attributed. Everything is attributed.
So use the who am I question and use the Atma Anatma Viveka to whatever the answer you get. When you put the who am I question, you get some answer.
Yes.
Then use the Atma Anatma. Oh, is this permanent or not permanent? Keep the not permanent thing. Okay. Then ultimately, look at, who is this who is really interested in asking all these questions? Who is this who's constantly bothering with all these questions and who needs to know this answer? So those two fundamental questions are given in that cartoon. Who am I? Who is asking the question? Who is asking the question takes you to the root of the ego. And that's why Ramana Maharshi says, when you inquire deeply into the nature of the mind itself is an illusion. Where is mind? What is mind? Appearance of thought gives you the appearance that there is a mind. So in the ocean, appearance of the wave gives you the appearance that there is ocean. Otherwise, where is it really? If it was completely still, if it was completely silent, where is the sound? Appearance of the sound helps you to recognize silence. So likewise, these two are important questions which you can then connect to the Viveka that you are getting through the Tattva Bodha and use that as a tool.
Okay.
And when to stop, you will have the natural answer. Because right now the questioner and the question both have to disappear. Both have to merge. And the questioner gets a deep peace, deep inner clarity. That is when the questioner disappears. Till then, sadhana is important.
Okay.
What is the next question that you wanted to bring up, Priyaji?
Jiva, and next is Jivatma. Jivan Mukta, I understood. Like once the Atma goes out of the body, like what is remained is Jivan Mukta. That has been explained in subtle body. That I understand. Jiva and Jivatma.
Yeah. Does one of you want to take a first cut? Do you want to share your understanding? The Jiva and Jivatma? So when you look at the Panchakosha Prakriya, as you layer by layer start peeling, it's like the peeling the layers of the onion. You peel the outer layer, there's another layer. You peel the other. As you keep peeling, what is inside, in a way, you come to this empty space. So, like that is who you are truly. You're truly the light of awareness. The analogy given is the Nataka Deepika. You are the Deepa, or the light that shines on the characters and help the characters to be animated and seen. Oh, now Rama came, now Sita came, now the Ravana came. Oh, now they're fighting. But all of it, only if the Nataka Deepika is there, meaning the light is there. Without the light, the whole Nataka cannot be seen at all. Imagine a totally dark room. Only with the light can the drama be seen. So the Guru is pointing at who you are. Oh, you are the Nataka Deepika. But so far you are thinking you are the Nataka. So far you are assuming you are the role. But become aware that you are the Deepika, the light of awareness, which is lighting up the drama. So using this Viveka, Jiva and Jivatma are similar. What is Jivatma? Atman wrongly attributed to the name and the form. Oh, I am a man. Oh, I am a boss. Oh, I am sad. Oh, I am angry. Oh, I got deceived. Oh, I need to take revenge. All this drama is happening for the mind and the body. And I am angry. I am sad. I need to eat. So all these are again based on the instrument. Wrongly attributing the instrument's changes to the unchanging. By that, I get the feeling that I am a jiva. I am this. I am this. I am the reflected surface. There's a wrong understanding that I am the reflected surface. I've become the instrument. Oh, I am this. Who? Old man. Oh, young, beautiful girl. Oh, very angry. My nature is very I get upset very easily. Oh, people are very bad. So you see, so the Nataka Deepika, the Deepa, because of the reflection, and there is a wrong attribution to the characters of the Nataka. That is who I am. Then it is called a Jiva. But because of the teaching by the Guru, the Jiva starts becoming aware of existence of Atma. Oh, I am not really Jiva. Oh, I am Atma. So there, in the beginning phases, there is a Jivatma. There is somewhat clarity, somewhat muddled up. There is still that manthana going on. There is still that churning going on. So the whole of the Tattva Bodha, the whole of the Vedanta is to clearly through the Viveka realize that I am not the Jiva, I am the Atman.
Okay.
I am this unchanging. Everything else is changing. That is why various prakriyas are given.
Okay. So,
Yes,
you mean to say Atma with attributes is called Jiva?
Atma wrongly connected with attributes is, because these attributes are not permanent, no.
Yes.
So Atman, that's why Atman is referred by Sat, Chit and Ananda. Sat means what? I exist.
Existence.
So very simple, no? For example, now, just, all of us can do this little experiment. Just close your eyes. Imagine you are in a pitch dark room, okay? You have to visualize this. You are in a pitch dark room. Now, can you see a little shimmer of light, Priyaji, coming through a window?
No, I cannot see.
You cannot see. Yeah, so you are in a pitch dark room. So can you see a table in the corner of the room?
No.
Are you there, Priyaji?
Yes.
Okay. So open your eyes. So you see, to see things, you needed something else. You needed light. To become aware of the existence of the table, you needed something else. But when I put the question, are you there? No hesitation, nothing else was needed. I am there, it was very clear to you. I am there has been very, very clear to you all along. That I am feeling, that I exist needs no validation, no second proof. Nobody has to come and teach you that. So that is Sat, that I exist. Existence. So I am aware also. See, I am aware of my own existence. So only a conscious being can be aware of something, no? I'm aware of the phone. I'm aware of the sounds. I'm aware of how to operate. So which means awareness, the ability to be aware, the consciousness is inherent in you. Only because you are aware can something be taught, isn't it?
Yes.
So you are of the nature of consciousness, meaning you are already, only because you are conscious, other things can be taught to you. So the fundamental knowing is within you. Knowing cannot be taught. See, the parents around you made lot of sounds, but who learned? You learned.
Correct.
Because you have the ability to know, you have the ability to learn. That is inherent in you. Somebody can make sound, but to know what it is inherent in you. Are you able to see the distinction?
Yeah, I am able to understand.
So that ability to be conscious or that consciousness, that's why you are of the nature of consciousness. Because that cannot be separated from you. That is not something that is given by anything in the world. Like how I am, that feeling that I am, that I exist is inherent in you. That is not given by the world.
Yes.
Consciousness is not given by the world. Not given by anybody. This mobile may be bought to me by my husband or wife. That is given. What is given also goes away.
Correct.
But what is within you can never be taken away.
Yes.
Because that is who you are truly. So, I exist, I am conscious, are very, very clear to us. Sat and Chit. Similarly, Ananda is also your inherent nature. But because it is now connected to all these 5 layers, the changes happening in the layers are wrongly attributed to me. Oh, I am angry. So when I'm angry, I'm not peaceful. I am sad. Oh, when I'm sad, I'm not happy. Oh, I got this. I am so happy. You know, this is iPhone. This is so nice, so fantastic. I am excited, so happy. So I wrongly start thinking that all these changes is because of which I'm getting happiness and I'm away from happiness. So now, because of my wrong understanding that what is coming and going is what is making me happy, I get connected to the world and I start running behind the world and start seeking things in the world. Why? Because now I am conscious. First of all, I have not deeply examined those truths, but I know it. The moment anybody puts that question, are you there? You know it. But did it open up the jnana? Maybe it did not open. So many times, that question has come to you. Are you there, Priya? Yes, I am there. Yes, ma'am. Right from class days, no. Priya, are you present? Yes, ma'am. All of us have said. But who is present at that time? I'm thinking, oh, the ma'am is talking to me. This, oh, I am present. So stand up, Priya, I stand up. Kneel down, Priya, I kneel down. So I've constantly got wrongly connected to this
body.
And I kept on thinking, I am this, I am this, I am this, I am this. So in a way, only the pointing by the guru has helped me to realize, oh, the I am. Who really stood up? The body stood up. But who helped the body to stand up? I am standing up, I thought. Okay. So who did you understand? Did you understand my question? Did you know now? Do you know now 1 + 1 is equal to 3? Do you know now? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so who really understood? Who really said, I know? Eat, eat, eat. Who really, what is that eating? Oh, such a pleasant music. Who's really hearing? Oh, what a nice smell. Who's really making sense of all of this? So because I never put that fundamental question, even the Sat and the Chit, were not in my conscious mind as jnana. In the conscious mind, there was only ajnana. That's why between the jnana and ajnana, in the karana sharira, ajnana is infinite. See, what you know, you can probably count. I know a little bit of math, I know a little bit of science, like that, and you can count. What I don't know, I don't know. So actually, between jnana and ajnana, ajnana is infinite. So I did not know. So now in that ajnana, this light of the jnana about my true nature, about Sat and Chit, has started shining. But Ananda, until I deeply realize that Ananda is my true nature, till then the vasana of the world will not vanish. Why is the vasana of the world there? Because I still have I have to get kind of a game going on in my mind. I have to get there, I have to get there, I have to become that, I have to acquire it, I have to acquire it. Because that is giving me happiness.
Okay.
So that's why, in the talk 9, there are levels of happiness. What are the levels given? Let me share my so you see, in the causal or the ignorance body, there is various kinds of levels of happiness that we feel. So Priya, Moda, Amoda, Pramoda. I like it. I saw that ad, I like it. Now I hold it. Oh, this is mine. So there is like that, various degrees of happiness. Right? So now I wrongly get connected to the idea that, oh, it is this iPhone that is making me happy. Oh, it is this wonderful idli that I ate that made me happy. So what is happening there? Because I am wrongly connected with other koshas, I wrongly get connected with what is changing. So I have a feeling of incompleteness because I have split the world. Now, see, in my mind, I have now chopped up. I am sad. So which means that I have to become happy. I am angry. So I have to become peaceful. So, for example, I am sad. A friend comes and says, come, let's go to a movie. I go to a movie. For the time being, the reason for that sadness in the mind is kept aside. Oh, the movie made me happy. When I'm sad, let me see a movie. I am sad. Sometimes people get into eating habit to remove their deep depression. Many people get connected to food to remove their sense of loneliness. So I'm very, very depressed. Hey, have a chocolate, have some food. So for the open and eating chocolate, sweet, usually takes away that feeling for some time. Why? Because I am lonely. Now I ate, I became happy. So, oh, food made me happy. Food removed my loneliness. But all along, all these feelings are there to help us to go back to the root. So you see, a pain occurs in the body because the body is telling you, hey, there is something going on. But what we do, Remove the pain. Immediately take a pill and remove the pain. I want to get rid of the pain rather than examining the root of the pain. The pain is a symptom, that is not the root cause. I may be having some sensation here of pain. See, for example, this part is connected to our back. This part is connected to our back. So if there is some problem or some pain, something happening in the back, let's say, for example, maybe some nerve is getting pinched, then you will start having various kinds of sensations here. This part may be having a pain, or it may be tingling. Oh, there is a pain here. Let me take a painkiller. Then the sensation goes away for the time being. Oh, I removed the pain. No, you did not remove the pain. You only got rid of the symptom. The pain is still there. Only when you realize the way you're sitting like this and this is constantly putting a pressure on your back, and now you have to realize that you have to sit correctly and keep moving once in a while. This pain will not go away. It will keep coming. It will surface again and again, again and again. So life, therefore, through these mechanisms, through pains, through feelings, is again and again asking you the question, I am sad, I am sad. Okay, have you ever wondered who is asking the question? Who is really sad? What is the source of sadness? Ask that question and dig into that. So again and again, you're constantly, therefore, reminded. So you see, we get so angry about some sad things happening in life. But again and again, through that event, life is giving us another chance to go back into the self. So, among the three sahaja attributes or the natural attributes of you, Sat and Chit are easier to understand, but this Ananda, through this again and again, constant reminder, constant contemplation, it is not the movie that made my sadness go away. When I was watching the movie, my mind became silent for some time. That whatever the thought process I had, whatever that repetitive thought process I had about maybe say somebody is scolding me, for the time being, I kept it aside. And my mind got focused on what was happening on the screen. So therefore, for some time, I got lost in the mimicry or some nice thing that was happening on the screen. So this feeling was away for some time. So it is not the scene on the movie that made me happy, because the same scene, if I keep watching the same movie 20 times, maybe it will not make me the same feeling will not be there.
Correct.
Because I already have seen it. Same chocolate, one chocolate happy, second chocolate little happy, third chocolate little less. So the law of diminishing returns. When you're very hungry, one little banana, oh, wonderful. When you're full, even most delicious, the chef prepared food, oh no, I don't even want to look at it. So it is not the thing that is happiness. It must be then inherent in me. What is happening? The phenomena I have to understand. The phenomena is my mind became silent for some time. When I wanted an iPhone, I got iPhone. Abba, now I have it. Now I got my iPhone. Thank you, I got my iPhone. So for the time being, that feeling that I don't have it, that lack, I don't have it, that lack got suppressed for some time. Now, what is my natural state? What is my natural being? Is to radiate happiness. That started radiating when the feeling that I don't have it was removed for some time. But in this game, is there gnana? No, there is still not gnana. Because I acquired it for some time, it is still a glimpse. But when it is coupled with gnana, then you can see that it is not this that made me happy. It is inherent, and this, for the time being, removed that lack. Oh, it is the sense of incompleteness that is making me feel that I have to acquire things in the life. So I start acquiring at different levels. For a physical level, I acquire food, eat. For the mind, I acquire various kinds of knowledge, read that, study that, go into that class, become that, become this. So to satisfy that incompleteness, like that, at various levels, when I feel incomplete, I want to become complete, because that is my, you see, that is my true nature. I'm already complete. Without realizing that, I start becoming complete by acquiring. I feel if only I got a good job which is giving me 80,000 rupees a month, I will be happy. If only I have a house and car, I'll be happy. If only. So I wrongly get connected to the if then else game of the life.
One second, Vijayji, can I interrupt here?
Yes.
This wrong connection, is it the external factors or the connections that we make? See,
Fundamentally, it is the sense of the wrong I that is in the Chidabhasa that gets connected to this wrong idea of life.
Okay, wrong realization of I.
Because you see life, see the wonderful drama of life. Society around us constantly is telling only these kinds of things, isn't it? So in what is society telling us, it's only I who can develop the viveka only when the realized master's teaching is available to me. And that is why Upakarma is done at the age of 7, so that a wrong connection to wrong eyes don't happen, and then you don't suffer later in the life, that you live life out of completeness and not for seeking completeness. So that's why this is called a land of illumined people. This is a land where people are not supposed to be suffering. People are not supposed to be begging. People are not supposed to be feeling worried. All these concepts of depression, anxiety, psychosomatic ailments are all very new age phenomena in this culture. Why? Because of wrong ideas being accepted. Because ultimately it is I who has the final door to accept or not to accept. To believe. See, even belief is a matter of, it binds you. It puts you in a jail. I believe there is God. It puts you in a jail. I believe God is of the form of Krishna. Then I'm bound in a jail. Then until I find somebody who looks and it connects to my ideas of God and what all attributes he should have, till then I'm bound in that jail. So any belief like that I get from life and that I get connected to puts a boundary. That is why mana eva karanam. For what? For both my bondage and for my liberation. The bondage is here as what? That I am this, I am that. All this is bondage, no? And how all this bondage came? Because I accepted the stories of the world and I put all the stories of life is what I accepted. This whole confusion is what is actually called samsara. Samsara means that which is constantly changing. The true meaning of the word samsara is that which is constantly changing. But how do people refer as samsara? Henge nim samsara, ganda inti hengidira. So people have a wrong understanding of samsara as ganda hinti. People have a wrong understanding of brahmacharya as celibacy. So like that, wrong interpretations I accepted. So the right clarity in the same mind is the only way that I can be liberated. Again, liberated means what? It is not that you are bound. You are in the confusion that you are bound. You are in the wrong understanding that you are bound. And who is that you who I am referring to? That Chidabhasa, that illusionary I. You are not that illusion, you are not that reflection. So you have never been in bondage. You have never been really incomplete. And that is why when you notice this picture, you see this, the deepest kosha is the self. And what is everywhere else is also the self. So self is all pervading. So what is all pervading? How can it be limited? So the sense of joy is from your infinite nature. How can joy be inherent? Is because you're infinite, because you lack nothing. You are complete. And that completeness is the state of, when there's a good joke or something nice happening, you laugh. And when a child is laughing, when a child is really smiling, there is no sense of little bit is laughing. It fully laughs out of the heart. It laughs. There is no inhibition at all. And in that no inhibition, you also get connected to that, right? You feel, oh, but notice that moment, you're not thinking anything. You're not thinking, I have to be laughing now. Like the laugh therapy people laugh through yoga, no? Now laugh, oh, 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 oh. They go and, no, you have to laugh a little longer. Oh, oh, oh. So senseless. So in a way it helps, at least rather than you at least practice good in a way. But it is all again a play of the mind. It's an incomplete game. So the only clarity is that your true nature, examine your true nature. It is your infiniteness that expresses as Ananda. So Sat, Chit and Ananda. So why this Prakriya of the Panchakosha? So to peel the layers of the onion, who I am not. Neti, am I the Annamaya Kosha? Examine. No, Neti. I am not the food, I am not the physical. Why? Because it is constantly changing. I can see it grow, I can see it shrink, I can see it change. I am not that. So the wrong superimposition that I make is, I am fat, I am young, I am tall. All these are attributes of your body. You have the body, you are not the body. Am I the Pranamaya Kosha? No, again. Various changes happening in the vital energies, which are felt as hunger, breathing, various changes. So, Neti, I am not the Pranamaya Kosha, but I am the watcher of the changes happening in the Pranamaya Kosha. Am I the thoughts, feelings, and emotions? No, definitely not. Because I can see them happen in the screen. They come and go. I'm not always sad. I'm not always suffering. It seems to come and go. So what comes and goes, how can I be? Because I am is there. I am is there. So I'm not the Manomaya Kosha, Neti. Am I the intellectual or the intellectual kosha, the Vijnanamaya kosha? Again, the same. When some jnana occurs, then my intellect also changes. So through the right viveka, right jnana can occur. So I used to make a bad decision. Now I am wise. So all that is happening in the Vijnanamaya kosha. So the intellect. But I can see the intellect operating. So therefore, I am not the intellect also. I can see the intellect happening. But that is the highest instrument. That is very, very important to develop the intellect. To see the Atma from the Anatma. To fundamentally differentiate the subject and the object. Not to, oh, I am very intelligent. Oh, that is very dull. So the intellect is like a knife. It can be used to murder or it can be used to heal. So when it is used to heal the mind, which mind? This mind. The feeling of separation of this mind from others. That is the true use of intellect. That is the right surgery that I need to use my intellect for. So then, Vijnanamaya Kosha, intellect, the intellect is also, I can see operating. So I am not the intellect. I am not the Vijnanamaya Kosha either. Then am I the Anandamaya Kosha? No. As I become aware of my own ignorance, then I can see that, oh, this ignorance was there. So ignorance is being seen by me. Even the jnana is seen by me. So both are being given the same light. So that way, as I slowly start peeling the layers of the onion, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. Neti, 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 neti. Oh, when I'm not any of this, then what am I? Who am I? And that is the fundamental answer. Not in the context of the mind. In the context of the mind, for the communication purpose, Sat Chit Ananda, realize your true nature as Sat Chit Ananda is given. But that is a deep inner being. And that inner being is all pervading as Sat. Existence, as existence, it's in the cat, the mouse, the tree, the chair, the rock, the water, the everywhere as existence, all pervading. And consciousness, we can become aware of the operation of the consciousness in different degrees, in different forms. But consciousness is there. You may judge something as less conscious and more conscious. Even a spider, without that consciousness, how can it do such wonderful things? So the instrument, through the instrument, different abilities of this consciousness are exhibited. Through this form, so through this instrument that you have, through what I have, there is a different degree of consciousness. This consciousness is the highest level of consciousness, because the intellect is fully functioning here to realize the oneness of the all the others. So as Sat and Chit, it is all pervading. And when you deeply examine and realize that you are of the nature of infinite, then what is in and what is out? What is inside and what is outside for infinite? Where it begins and where it ends? Those are meaningless questions in the context of infinite. Because boundary cannot be there. Boundless. And boundless is not a phenomenon of the mind. Because mind cannot fathom boundless. Because mind cannot imagine what is infinite. It uses the word infinite. But that helps the mind to become silent, the questioner to become silent. Whenever the questioner has disappeared in you, you have felt true bliss. That is your state of the sleep, deep sleep. In deep sleep, the questioning mind has subsided because the world has disappeared. The questioner has disappeared. Oh, it's so relaxing, so blissful sleep. What a wonderful, oh, now I have to face the world. As I become aware of my mind, I start get connected to my mind and I say, ayo, my life. Which is the fundamental ignorance. The cause of all suffering in life is connection to this mind. So that is what gurus have been saying, drop the mind. Meaning what? Realize that you are not the mind. But use the mind to operate in the world. Absolutely fine. Then it is like Krishna. Whatever role, no problem. Sarathi, no problem. Priyasakha, no problem. Priyabandhu, no problem. Raja, no problem. Servant, no problem. Killer, no problem. No problem. As necessary, in the right context, the right kind of feeling and the right kind of action emerges. Why? No connection to the roles of the Nataka. Because it is a Deepika and the Nataka has to be played. So then enjoy the drama. So that's why the true jnana is Dehatma Buddhi. I am the mind and the body and the intellect. Dehatma Buddhi. So from that kind of an incorrect mixing of the Atma with all these things and saying, oh, this is tea. Because I've added tea leaves, the water now takes the color of the tea leaf. So now this is tea. So from that, only by Viveka, you are able to separate, because you cannot separate it physically. You're separating through Viveka. And see, that is why the Paramahamsa, Hamsa is given as a, Hamsa is not a true bird, it's a mythical bird. Okay, but it's very significant in the Indian spiritual tradition. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Okay, Hamsa. Hamsa means what? That which can separate milk from water, it is said. And it can drink only pure milk, it is said. How can it be? This Viveka. This Viveka in the intellect is that Hamsa. In that, realize you are not the Deha. I'm not the mind. I'm not the body. I'm not the mind. I'm not the intellect. That's why Prabhuji keeps on repeating that. Nanu nanembudu nanalla. Ee deha mana buddhi nanalla. Sachidananda Shiva nanu nane. So in that is the essence of Tattva Bodha. Who am I not? All these other things. Neti, neti, neti. Annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, anandamaya kosha. Deha, mana, buddhi, nanalla. See, that's why Deha, gross body, sthula sharira. And then all this vital, that is the pranamaya and the manomaya and the vijnanamaya kosha are nothing but subtle body. Then this ignorance, causal body. All these are referred as mind only. So I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. Then who am I? Shiva Swarupi. So developing that Atma Bhava in the intellect is the true Jnana. So replacing all other incorrect Jnana that I have acquired so far from the world with the right Jnana given by the Sadguru and deepening in that Atma Bhava is Nididhyasa. So when we say we are doing Nididhyasa, 24/7 can be Nididhyasa. Like you might have seen some dancers. They keep pots on the head and are dancing. So they're interacting with the audience, smiling, making the moves. But all along, they have to keep the awareness on the pots also. Because otherwise it will slip and fall. So that is the indication. Be aware that, it's like the pot. Be aware that, you are the Brahman. Like how now the body feeling has become deeply ingrained. In the middle of the night, somebody puts on the light and calls out your name. You wake up. Padma, you wake up. Because it has become so deeply ingrained now. You become Padma, or whatever the name that our parents have given to us. That is who you become. So from there, replacing that with Atma Bhava. So Nididhyasa is as we continue to do this, and as we continue to be in this, that's why the Nididhyasa meditation starts with the statement of Brahmagnanavali. So it is the thought. Even Brahmagnanavali is a thought. You are a girl is a thought. You are a woman is a thought. You are a mother is a thought. Replacing that thought with the right thought. So that it goes deeper. And then no more that has to be done like a exercise. It's like now, the feeling that I'm a mother is so deeply ingrained. Your child, even if makes a little sound, especially, as a mother, you would know it very well. Others may not understand, but you have that very sharp sense of awareness. Oh, my child is crying, my child is upset, I want to attend to it. Because that has become so deeply ingrained, the feeling of motherhood. Like that, the Atma Bhava has to become deeply ingrained. Not that you are something different, but because you've become you've acquired some other thought process, the vritti of the mind now has to be changed. Because what is the vritti of the mind? See, the vritti of the mind is by deep impressions that are in the mind. Where are the deep impressions? What are the deep impressions? That I am the body, that I am what I'm thinking. All this have become deeply ingrained. And that is what prompts us to keep on going in this cycle. So now, therefore, that has to be replaced with the right jnana. That is why the wrapper is removed. And the fundamental thing, therefore, is nothing is negated in Vedanta. Nothing is to be really removed. Just see it from a different viewpoint. You see, the worldly logic is I experience sorrow, therefore I am sorrowful. Dehatma buddhi. Okay. Atman is wrongly attributed, wrongly superimposed with the whatever is happening to the mind. Oh, I am experiencing sorrow. I am so sad. That's why the Vedantic logic is wonderful. You are experiencing sorrow. It means what? You are not sorrow. Why? You can see sorrow come and go. How can you be sorrowful when you can see sorrow come and go? When you can see sadness come and go, how can you be sad? Very nice that you're experiencing that. You see? Very nice. You can see that, the body is growing old. Very nice. Because then you are not that. So you see, Vedanta, therefore, is from our day-to-day common living experience. It is just a shift in the way of seeing. Oh, what I experience is not who I am. Through the subject-object viveka, atma anatma viveka. Am I the subject or am I the object? Through that simple viveka, then atma bhava has to be deepened, and that is nididhyasa. Priyaji, is it all making sense? Is it bringing clarity?
Of course, Vijayji, lot of clarity today.
All right.
The basics are very clear.
Okay. Is there anything else that we need to discuss, or shall we end our today's session?
Is Padmaji sharing the screen on Rishika, or most of the participants are not there?
Yeah. So initially we thought, we will just talk about Upakarma and we will disperse. But then after you came and after we took your questions, we had our usual satsanga.
Okay, so we'll do it in the next test.
Next week I will be doing
yeah.
Okay, Padma.
So Padmaji is going to be talking about Gargi. And then, she also has identified some Rishika's names. So we'll all be distributing that, from next week onwards after Padmaji does. Each one of us can take one Rishika and we can spend some 5-10 minutes to look into their life.
Yeah.
Padmaji,
oh, wonderful.
Share the names of the Rishikas in the group so that if we, whenever.
Yeah. Actually, the presentation I prepared, in that itself, the names are there. Also, I think as I was looking for this whole week, I found more and more names. So, and then also there are some people who are not mentioned as part of Vedantic study, but there are various saints who are female. So I think that it is not limited to that 30 or 27 that they are mentioning.
Correct.
It is going beyond that. So, and some may not be even, possible for us to find it because we use a limited resource.
Yeah.
So I think everybody can bring the names to that Priyaji. It is very good to add. Even for Gargi, whatever I could find out, I put it in a very concise form. But somebody else could have found more information also, something which I was not able to find. So I will be even willing to love to hear that as well and know more. So I think we can do that. And then, I was telling Vijay sir, it can be used further for the, the group like he's doing for Mahabharata with the children. They can even learn about all these famous saints. So that will be very good.
Yes.
Yeah, I found these books for Mihir sir in
Very nice. Very nice.
Ramakrishna, their website. It is 5 books.
Yeah.
And it has so many about all the great women of India.
Yeah.
And they have
Ah.
Gargi,
Yeah.
Maitreyi,
Yeah.
everybody in that.
Yeah.
And also, just within our own, let's say, societal circumstances, if you look around, you find many.
Yeah.
Some of them, we may not have a book. For example, in Karnataka, Akka Mahadevi is a very famous saint.
Yeah.
Like that, each one of us can bring through our own experience. Absolutely fine.
Yeah. Yes.
On the same lines, the kids had that women patriots, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
After looking at all the kids' speeches, I went back and I researched on those topics.
Yes.
Some of the names we didn't even know.
We didn't even know.
Yeah.
Correct.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
Especially with this Rishikas, no sir. I mean, when we were talking about Rishikas, I thought, okay, I went and Googled Rishikas and I couldn't find much. Okay, but when I went to Rishi, it said that Rishi is not a attribute to masculine.
Yes.
It's a common term which
Yeah.
can be used even for the female. So that all was very nice to know.
Yeah.
That this is a different.
Yeah. So she's actually called as Rishi Gargi.
Yeah, Rishi only. Yeah, correct.
But
Everybody is
for-
Rishi, and then for our understanding, we for female and male, we are
Yes.
attributing that Rishika thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
And it was very nice to know that each of these rishis, their daughters, they take the name of the gotra and all that. It was very nice to understand the naming process, and they can immediately connect to the lineage and from which rishi their teachings are and all that.
Yeah.
Very nice it was.
Wonderful. So this is the intention, Priyaji, to bring into our awareness, and in so once when we all become little clearer with what we are presenting, we can even start making each one of us short videos, because the world needs to know this. There's a lot of misconception about our especially culture and Sanatana Dharma and the ways of life that is good for everyone. See, only in the last maybe 120 years in America and such places, you talk about women emancipation, freedom for women. But somewhere all these things are very evolved here. So we need to bring it to the notice of the world and help them evolve.
Yeah, one of the profound things I found that was even widow getting remarried, sir, during those times.
Correct.
I mean, I was aware that widows up to a certain time, widows were like ostracized or whatever, not included in the society. But when you go to the Vedantic thing, because they believed that they had to be under protection, even widow marriage was all there. So that was really very. I mean, from that kind of culture we come, and today what it's been made into.
Yeah, especially once when the invasion started, slowly many things started modifying.
Yeah.
But anyway, no. Problem. Let us
as long as we are aware that this is where we come from, I think it's good.
Yeah. That's why somebody said, the ones who what is the purpose of history? Not to really gather the facts. What I can learn from the history. So the ones who do not learn from the history may make the same mistake again.
Correct.
So I found one very nice video on Sanatana Kshatra Vidya and Shastra Vidya. There is a group among Sikhs called Nihang. Nihangs are the ones who were groomed by Guru Gobind Singh to protect, especially Punjab is the place where most of the invasions happened, right? That belt. So Nihang are that group who are the Kshatriya group. And that particular video is about 45-50 minutes. Excellent information that I was amazed to see. The way the Kshatra Vidya is such a subtle science of mind and body. See, in our Mahabharata, we hear about Shastra and Astra. And we talk about how this was given only to the right adhikaris.
Correct.
the ones who would take up the oath of protecting others.
Mm.
And we would always wonder, how can Bhima kill so many?
Yeah.
How can Arjuna do such a havoc? We all think, oh, it all must be very imaginative.
Mm.
When you see this video, the way he very little things he says, what I'm demonstrating here, what I'm talking about is less than 1 to 2%.
Mm.
Okay, in that itself, it's so amazing. He has some 4 or 5 people, who are all demonstrating some modern boxing, kickboxing, and many things. How he works with them, each little thing he explains. In that 40 minutes, I was like, oh my God, if this is 1% of this Sanatana Kshatra Vidya,
How much actually is it?
how much we have lost. So
Yeah.
I share that also. Again, it is not with the intention of, that to hurt others, but Kshatriyatva,
Yeah.
the ability to protect also has to be nurtured
Correct.
in the right way.
Yeah.
So again, some amazing science is there.
Mm.
We slowly things have started coming up.
Yeah.
There is one channel, YouTube channel, by Project Shivoham. They come up with
Yeah.
Very
Even
nice.
I have
Very
come
nice.
Very
across
nice,
that.
very nice.
Yes.
it is.
Yeah. All right. Shall we end our today's session?
Yes, Vijayji.
Om Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, Sarve santu niramayah, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, Ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Sarvesham swastir bhavatu, Sarvesham shantir bhavatu, Sarvesham purnam bhavatu, Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you all. See you next Sunday. Hari Om.
Hari Om,
Vijayji.
Hari Om, everyone.
Hari Om.